Today, we're diving into a story about a chemical surprise, a hidden force, really, that was hiding in plain sight and is now completely changing how we design life-saving drugs. So let me ask you this. What if those basic rules of chemistry we all had to memorize? Like charges repel, opposites attract? What if that was only part of the picture? What if there was this powerful exception that could pretty much change everything? Well, it all starts with a huge contradiction. A real puzzle that, for the longest time, just didn't add up. Okay, let's do a quick chemistry refresher. You remember the halogens on the periodic table, right? Chlorine, bromine, iodine? The textbook rule is that they're super electronegative, and that's just a fancy way of saying they are incredibly greedy for electrons. They're constantly pulling all that negative charge towards themselves, basically wrapping themselves in a negative cloak. And here's where it gets weird. Scientists kept seeing these negatively cloaked halogens forming these really strong, really specific bonds with other negative parts of molecules. This just goes against the most basic rule of physics. It's like watching two south poles of a magnet snap together. It just shouldn't happen. So, what in the world was going on? Well, the answer is hiding in this strange and kind of wonderful feature of quantum mechanics that was overlooked for decades. It's the secret of what's called the sigma hole. Now, this slide just flips the whole script. On the left, you see the old, simplified idea. The halogen is just this blob of negative charge. But the image on the right, that's the reality. See, that electron cloud isn't uniform at all. If you look really close at the very tip of that atom, that little reddish spot, that is a small but very real region of positive charge. And that is the sigma hole. It happens because the electrons get pulled around to the sides of the atom, which leaves the very tip electron deficient and, you guessed it, positive. The best way to think about it is like a little chink in its negative armor. It's this unexpected positive patch that can now act like a magnet for a negative partner. So now that we've found this secret feature, how do we actually use it? Turns out this halogen bond isn't random at all. It follows some very specific rules about strength and geometry. And this shows the first rule perfectly. As you move down the halogen family, from fluorine to chlorine, bromine, and then iodine, the atoms get bigger, and this makes that sigma hole effect way more pronounced. I mean, just look at the progression here. Iodine, on the far right, has a massive, intensely positive sigma hole compared to the tiny little one on chlorine. So the takeaway here is crucial. The bigger the halogen, the stronger the halogen bond. Iodine is the absolute king. Bromine is next, and chlorine is the weakest of the three. Simple as that. But it's not just about strength. Rule number 2 is all about directionality. This bond is incredibly picky. Look at this 3D energy map. You see that deep valley, that red and yellow hotspot? That shows where the attraction is the absolute strongest. It's a really narrow target. The analogy here is just perfect. It's like docking a spaceship in orbit. You have to have perfect aim. And the numbers really back this up. The sweet spot is a near-perfect straight line, an angle of about 180 degrees. If you're off by just 30 or 40 degrees, the attraction completely collapses. It just vanishes. It goes from a really strong bond to basically no interaction at all. Precision is everything here. Okay, so we've got a bond where we can predict its strength and we can control its direction. This is where it gets really, really powerful. Scientists realized they could actually tune this molecular magnet. So check out how chemists can supercharge this whole effect. On the left, you've got a standard molecule with an iodine atom. You can see its sigma hole there in red. But now look at the molecule on the right. Scientists have decorated it with fluorine atoms, which are the most electron-greedy elements of all. And they pull even more electron density away from the rest of the molecule, and just look at what happens to the iodine. Its positive sigma hole becomes massive. It's way more potent. And the impact is just staggering. The researchers who figured this out found that this kind of tuning can literally double the bond's strength. It becomes so powerful it can actually rival a hydrogen bond, one of the most fundamental interactions in all of biology. This technique gives chemists an incredible amount of control. So think about it. We have a tunable, directional bond that can be made as strong as the ones holding our own DNA together. This isn't just some chemical curiosity. It's the key to rationally designing the drugs of tomorrow. And just look at this data. This is from an actual cancer drug inhibitor. The chart shows its potency, how effective it is. And for this kind of drug, a lower number means a more potent drug. With a chlorine atom, its potency value is 0.026. Okay, not bad. But when chemists swapped it out for an iodine to create a much stronger halogen bond, the potency just skyrocketed. The value plummeted to 0.002. That's more than a tenfold increase in effectiveness just from changing a single atom. And here it is. Here's a snapshot of that exact interaction in action. That purple sphere, that's the iodine atom on the drug. You can see it forming a near-perfect 174-degree halogen bond, locking onto its protein target with unbelievable precision. This is molecular engineering at its absolute finest. You know, this single image really captures the whole story. For years, chemists might have accidentally made a molecule with one of these bonds and just found that it worked really well. That was serendipity. It was just pure luck. But now, because we understand the sigma hole and its rules, we've moved to what's called rational design. We can build molecules with purpose, specifically designing them to form these powerful bonds and hit their targets with precision. So, why does all this matter so much? Well, for one, it shows us that the fundamental forces of chemistry are way deeper and more fascinating than we ever thought. It gives scientists this incredibly powerful and precise new tool for their toolkit, and that allows them to create drugs that are way more potent and more specific, which is absolutely crucial for treating diseases from cancer to HIV with fewer side effects. The story of the halogen bond is just an amazing reminder that there are still profound secrets hiding out there in plain sight, even in something as fundamental as an atom. And it leaves you with this final kind of tantalizing question. What other hidden forces are just waiting to be discovered inside the building blocks of our world?